TYTSports, Francis Maxwell, our guest host here, Ben Mankiewicz.
You feel good about that?
Jason don't dare me to do it if I could ever do it.
Let's go. Let's go. We've started. Start talking, tough guy.
I don't know how to take it. We're looking at the top 5 most exciting leagues to watch next year. So we're trying to convince you.
Yeah. Look, I'm not unconvinced. I mean, you know, for all the criticisms I have, the criticisms are from a place. You know, I like it. I mean, I like it. There's some messed up things about it, but I like it.
So there was a list we looked at on a website called Give Me Sport, and it was last year. They had the top 5 leagues to watch, and astoundingly, no surprise that the English Premier League is number 1 for exciting leagues to watch. I agree, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But the French League doesn't even break the top 5.
Is that right? Which is the French
League? So
what's it called?
Ligue 1. Well, I don't know how you say it, but it's French Ligue 1. And which is very surprising.
I say French Ligue 1.
You want to throw your accent on it, see if you can do it?
I don't even know what that was. Like a combination of John Wayne and I can't even finish that thought because I was going to say something terrible. Look at that. I caught myself.
They just signed, so they have Ibrahimovic, who is a big fan favourite in the world. Huge. Now, like after the World Cup, depending on whether James Rodriguez will stay, he plays for Monaco. Falcao, another huge Colombian player. They're gaining traction. Like Paris Saint-Germain just reached the semi-finals of the Champions League. So they're starting to gain better players. I mean, in the league itself is becoming more competitive.
Can I break in for a second? Yesterday, I went on Wikipedia to try and figure out what how you get into the Champions League. That is the most confusing Wikipedia entry in the fucking world.
I can.
There's like 6 qualifying rounds.
Yeah.
First of all, I mean, one thing is amazing is you learn they play this game everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, because the idea is to open it up to the world.
Yeah.
But then still make sure we get the best teams in when you get to the knockout stage.
So I mean, in terms of breaking it down simply, like if you're in a prestigious league like the Premier League or the La Liga, or these best leagues, if you finish first or second, you're automatically into the group stages, which is the only stage that most people want to watch. Right. Let's be honest. The qualifying.
It starts taking shape at the group stage.
Yeah, it starts taking shape at the group stage, and this is why when I see comments like people are like, oh, now the World Cup's over, what's the no point in watching soccer? Like, I don't understand it, because for me the Champions League is more exciting because you get to blend in all the world's best players with each other. I mean, this year, as I said already in previous videos, you're going to have Ronaldo, Bale, Toni Kroos, who is now signed with Real Madrid today. They're all going to be in the same team, and then you've got the other side, Messi, Suarez, and then you get to play against the European leagues. And then for a neutral standpoint, like teams like me, I support Glasgow Celtic, who are a small team. But in Scotland, we played against Barcelona 2 years ago, and we beat them 1-0 at our field, and it was 2-1. One of the most amazing games. Atmosphere, stadium was packed. That's what this competition gives you the chance to.
And in the Champions League, whether you lose on the road 2-1 as opposed to 1-0 makes a huge difference, because away goals is like this huge tiebreaker.
That's when it gets, in the group stage, when it gets into the last 16, it's from neutral fans like yourself who don't like penalties as much. It's a combination. It makes it fair.
It's still messed up, but I get it.
I mean, I think home advantage plays a big factor in it, and it allows teams to have. I mean, usually the fair team comes out because it's 2 matches. I mean, you can play defensive for one full 90-minute game, maybe sneak a 1-0, and then you have to go to that team's home field where they're used to playing and try and play defensive for the 90 minutes. It's hard.
It's an advantage to have the home game as your second game.
Yeah, well, that is a good point to make. Some people, it depends. If you have teams like Barcelona who can strike up a big like score in the first game, maybe 4-0 or something like that, it's going to be hard to go by. And teams have done that before, So, and but their game. It's amazing to see how these teams' games plans change from home and away.
Yeah. Okay. So continue. So you're saying that the Ligue 1 in France
is going to be exciting this year. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to break in between the competition between the Premier League and the La Liga, which are the two which people argue most, because the La Liga this year, especially Atletico Madrid won, and you have Barcelona and Real Madrid, so they kind of broke the final 2. Which is why people are like, oh no, the La Liga is the best, because now it's getting more competitive. And I agree, especially with the signings they're making this year, I'm going to be watching every game. Barca Real Madrid is going to be huge, but I still don't think it's as exciting in the Premier League for my preference, because the Premier League is 1, more aggressive, and 2, there's more teams competing for that first prize I think so. You get Manchester United, Manchester City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool.
And the third place team in those leagues have a good chance to get straight into the group stage too.
And it depends on the league. That's why I think it's unfair. As I go back to Scotland again, first the champion, we don't even get to go straight into the group stage when we win the Champions League because our league's not prestigious enough.
I got you.
So based on that, so in the Premier League, top 4 go in.
Right.
And then so that you're fighting for that spot. And the qualifying stages are just not as interesting to watch, so they think, oh, these teams deserve to go in because they're too good in the Premier League, which is a fair point as well because it's more competitive. Yeah. So the Premier League, so you're not just fighting for first and second spot to try and win it, you're fighting for these spots as well. And then if you're a Premier League fan, the relegation battle, they gain more views practically than anything else. And
what, from an outsider like me, what is confusing is that, and again, it's learnable, but what has been confusing is that you qualify for the Champions League, you start playing group stage, but your team is still playing then the next season in your original league, correct?
Yeah, so you're
so there's simultaneous games being played for the Champions League to finish one season, and then you might be starting the next season.
So at the same, I mean, some people's schedule, they complain because you're playing a game, a Saturday, a tense game against, like, say, it happened one year with Jose Mourinho, who's a Chelsea coach, was arguing because he played Manchester United that Saturday, and then he had Real Madrid, I think, in the Champions League on the Wednesday. So you've got that many days, so you're having to grill, like, put your players through
and one game means more than the other game.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it's come out.
It's just it is antithetical to the way that Americans approach. Like we have the season ends, and you have the playoffs.
Yeah,
and that's
another reason is because you have certain seasons for certain sports, right? Fall is football. And then NBA is the next. So that's why I know that's why a lot of people are fans of soccer because it's year round.
Yeah, because I got that.
There's no stop.
It's taken a little bit of time for me to realize that. And okay, so we got three leagues now. But the surprise is including the French league.
Yeah, so I'd include the French league to top 5, but I still think 1 English Premier League, 2 La Liga, and 3 is the Bundesliga, which is the German league, because there's still this rivalry between Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. Bayern Munich are the main team there. That's Robin and the likes of them to play. And Dortmund, which is frustrating for me because it gets so competitive to the point that last Champions League final, Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich met each other in the European Champions League final. So they were from the same nation, as competitive. And then Borussia Dortmund just go and sell Götze, who scored the World Cup goal, and Lewandowski, their top striker, to Bayern Munich. Because Bayern has more money.
And Bayern Munich had 7 members of the German national team?
So they've controlled the German market for a while, and it's still interesting to watch because you kind of want Borussia Dortmund to break that trend.
What's the 5th?
I would go. So I'm trying to regain my thoughts here. English Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, French league, and then it's a competition. I think you can throw in the Dutch league. I think it's getting better. It used to be amazing. Ajax used to produce the best Dutch players in the world, and they used to be a force in Europe, but it has gone down, and I think they came in at 5th as an interesting league to watch.
Johan Cruyff.
Yes, you remember. Good, man. See, you know soccer more than you let on. You got it. So I think that the Dutch league, I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it, but if it comes to the Seattle Sounders and the Ajax, I would definitely choose the Dutch
You're
league.
not going to watch the United Kansas City or whatever they're called?
In MLS, I have been tending to watch the Seattle Sounders Portland Timbers game. Right. That's an interesting game because it's competitive.
Right, the Portland, they care. What is Kansas City called now?
Kansas City Wizards.
No, they're not called the Wizards anymore.
What did
they're
they
called
say? Kansas City Gandalfs?
Sporting Kansas City. Fuck you. Yeah. Come on.